Stop scrolling. I mean it. Because what I'm about to tell you might save your life. And I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and said this to me 50 years ago. I'm 73 years old. And I'm sitting in a wheelchair right now, telling you this story. Not because I had an accident, not because of bad luck, because I chose to ignore the one thing that was keeping me alive, my body. For 50 years, I treated my body like it was a machine that would never break down. I fed it garbage. I starved it of sleep. I drowned it in stress. I skipped every doctor's appointment. I laughed at people who went to the gym. I told myself I was fine. I was never fine. I just didn't know it yet. You're probably doing the same thing right now. Skipping meals, sleeping 4 hours, popping painkillers instead of fixing the problem. Telling yourself you'll start eating better next month. You'll exercise when things calm down. Things never calm down, and your body is keeping score. Every skipped meal, every sleepless night, every cigarette, every bottle, every time you said, "I'll deal with it later." Your body wrote it all down, and one day it hands you the bill. I got my bill 3 years ago, and I couldn't afford it. It was a Tuesday morning. I remember because Tuesdays were my busiest days at the shop. I owned a small furniture repair business for 31 years. Nothing fancy, just honest work. I was carrying a dresser from the back room to the front. Same thing I'd done 1,000 times. My back had been hurting for weeks, maybe months. I can't remember because I had trained myself to ignore pain. Pain was weakness. That's what my father taught me. So I lifted the dresser, and something snapped. Not in the dresser. In me. I felt a burning sensation shoot from my lower back all the way down to my left foot. My legs gave out. I hit the concrete floor face first. I couldn't move. I couldn't feel my legs. I lay there for 40 minutes before my employee found me. 40 minutes on a cold concrete floor, staring at sawdust, thinking one thought. This is how it ends. The ambulance came. The hospital. The scans. The doctors with their serious faces and their clipboards. 3 herniated discs. Severe spinal stenosis. Nerve damage in both legs. Advanced arthritis in my knees, hips, and shoulders. Early-stage kidney disease from decades of painkillers I'd been swallowing like candy. High blood pressure I never knew I had. Type 2 diabetes I never knew I had. The doctor looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Mr. Patterson, when was your last physical?" I thought about it. 27 years. I hadn't seen a doctor in 27 years. She didn't yell at me. She didn't lecture me. She just looked sad. And that was worse. "Most of this," she said, "was preventable." Preventable. That word hit me harder than the concrete floor. 50 years of damage, and most of it was preventable. I spent 6 weeks in the hospital, 3 surgeries, months of rehabilitation. I learned to walk again with a walker, then a cane, now a wheelchair on bad days, which is most days. I'm 73 years old, and I move like I'm 95, not because of age, because of neglect. Let me take you back, because this didn't start at 70, this started at 23. I was young, strong, I could eat anything, drink anything, sleep 3 hours, and still show up for work. My body forgave everything, so I assumed it always would. At 23, I started smoking. A pack a day. Sometimes more. I told myself, I'll quit when I'm 30. At 30, I didn't quit. I said, I'll quit when I have kids. My daughter was born when I was 32. I didn't quit. I said, I'll quit when she's older. So I waited. At 35, my wife begged me to see a doctor. I had chest pains. I told her it was heartburn. I took antacids and went back to work. At 40, my knees started hurting. I wrapped them in bandages and kept going. At 45, I couldn't climb stairs without losing my breath. I blamed the stairs. At 50, I started getting headaches every single day. I took 4 ibuprofen every morning like vitamins. My wife said, please see a doctor. I said, I'm fine. I was not fine. At 55, I quit smoking. Finally. But by then, 32 years of damage was already done. At 60, I could barely bend over to tie my shoes. I switched to slip-ons and called it a solution. At 65, my wife died. Heart attack. She was 63. You know what she did that I didn't? She went to the doctor. Every year, they caught things early. They treated things. But her heart had a defect nobody could have predicted. And me, the one who never went to a doctor, I was still standing, and I took that as proof that I was right. See? I don't need doctors. I'm fine. The arrogance of that statement makes me sick now. I wasn't fine. I was a time bomb. I just hadn't gone off yet. I had the strength of a working man. I had the stubbornness of my father. I had the pride of someone who never missed a day of work in 40 years. But I didn't have health. I didn't have flexibility. I didn't have energy. I didn't have a body that worked the way it should. I had a body held together with painkillers, denial, and dumb luck, and the luck ran out. Here's the lie that almost killed me. Maybe it's killing you right now. I'm tough. I don't need help. That's not toughness. That's stupidity dressed up in pride. Real toughness is admitting something is wrong. Real toughness is walking into a doctor's office and saying, I'm scared. Check everything. Real toughness is changing your habits at 40, at 30, at 25 before your body forces you to. I wasn't tough. I was terrified. Terrified of what a doctor might find. Terrified of being told to slow down. Terrified of seeming weak. And you know what's weak? Lying in a hospital bed at 70, unable to walk, because you were too proud to get a checkup. Here's another lie. Pain is normal. No, pain is a signal. Pain is your body screaming at you. And I spent 50 years putting tape over the smoke detector instead of putting out the fire. Every headache was a message. Every backache was a warning. Every time I couldn't catch my breath, my body was begging me to listen. I didn't listen. My friend George didn't listen either. George was like me, worked hard, never complained, never saw a doctor. George died at 61. Colon cancer. Stage 4 by the time they found it. If he'd gotten a colonoscopy at 50, they would have caught it early. He'd probably still be alive. Is that the legacy you want? He was tough. He never complained. He died 20 years too early. You know what haunts me at 3 in the morning? Not the surgeries, not the wheelchair, not even the pain. It's the specific moments I can never get back. My daughter's college graduation. She walked across that stage, and I was there. But I was hunched over in my seat, my back screaming, popping pills, just to sit through 2 hours. I couldn't stand when they called her name. Everyone else stood. I couldn't. She looked at me afterward. She didn't say anything, but I saw it in her eyes. Disappointment. Not in herself. In me. In what I'd let myself become. The fishing trip to Alaska I promised my best friend for 20 years. Every year he'd say, this is the year, right? Every year I'd say, next year. My back's acting up. He died waiting for next year. My wife's last 2 years. She wanted to travel, Paris, Rome, anywhere. I said my knees couldn't handle it. My back couldn't handle it, so we stayed home. She died never seeing Paris. I could have fixed my knees at 50. I could have done the physical therapy. I could have had the surgery when recovery would have been fast. Instead, I waited. And my wife died without her dream trip because of my pride. The garden my wife planted that I can't maintain anymore. It's dead now, just like the version of me that could kneel in the dirt and pull weeds with her on Sunday mornings, playing with my granddaughter. She's 7. She wants me to chase her. She wants me to pick her up and spin her around. She wants a grandfather who can get on the floor and play. I can't do any of that. I'm 73, and I can't pick up my own granddaughter. That's not aging, that's consequences. After those 6 weeks in the hospital, I made a decision. I was 70, late, incredibly late, but not dead. I started physical therapy 3 times a week. It was humiliating at first. A 70-year-old man learning to walk again. surrounded by people half my age recovering from sports injuries. But I showed up. I changed my diet completely. No more fast food, no more skipping meals, no more eating like a teenager at a gas station. I started drinking water. Sounds ridiculous, right? A 70-year-old man discovering water. But I spent decades drinking nothing but coffee, beer, and soda. I started sleeping 8 hours. For the first time in my adult life, I see my doctor every 3 months now. Every single test, every scan, every blood draw. I don't argue. I don't postpone. I show up. And you know what? I'm better now at 73 than I was at 65. Not great. Not what I could have been. But better. My blood pressure is controlled. My diabetes is managed. I can walk short distances with just a cane on good days. I'm happier now in a broken body that I finally respect than I was at 40 in a strong body I was slowly destroying. But here's the thing that breaks my heart. If I had started at 30, if I had listened at 40, if I had changed at 50, I wouldn't be in this wheelchair. I would be chasing my granddaughter. I would have taken my wife to Paris. I would have had a life instead of a lesson. Now I'm talking to you. Yes, you. How long has your back been hurting? How many months have you been ignoring that pain in your chest? When was your last physical? When was your last blood test? You don't know, do you? You're doing exactly what I did. You're telling yourself you're fine. You're telling yourself you're young. You're telling yourself you'll deal with it later. Later doesn't exist. Later is a hospital bed. Later is a doctor saying preventable. Later is watching your grandchild play from a wheelchair. If you died tomorrow, would your body tell the story of someone who cared for it or someone who used it up and threw it away like a tool? I know what you're thinking. But I'm busy. I don't have time for the gym. I don't have money for healthy food. I can't take time off for doctor appointments. You'll find time for the hospital. Trust me. You'll find money for the surgeries. You'll take plenty of time off when your body shuts down. The question isn't whether you can afford to take care of yourself. The question is whether you can afford not to. If I could go back and grab my 23-year-old self by the collar, here's what I'd say. Stop. Stop treating your body like it's invincible. Stop eating like nothing matters. Stop skipping sleep like it's a badge of honor. Stop ignoring pain. Stop being afraid of doctors. Stop choosing pride over health. Start moving your body every single day. Start eating food that actually fuels you. Start sleeping like your life depends on it. Because it does. Start getting annual checkups. Start drinking water. Start stretching. Start listening when your body whispers so it doesn't have to scream. If something hurts, go to the doctor now. Not next week, not next month, now. If you haven't had a physical in more than a year, book one today, not tomorrow, today. If you're eating garbage every day, stop tonight, not Monday, tonight. Your body is the only home you will ever live in. You don't get a second one. You don't get an upgrade. You don't get a trade-in. This is it. Take care of it or lose it. I'm 73 now. I've been taking care of myself for 3 years. 3 years out of 73. 3 years. That's what I gave my body after taking from it for 50 years. And these 3 years, even in pain, even in a wheelchair, even with all the damage done, these have been my most honest years. Because I finally stopped lying to myself. I would give everything I own to go back and start at 30, to have 43 years of health instead of 3. But I can't go back. You can go forward. You have a choice right now. Keep ignoring the signals. Keep skipping the appointments. Keep pushing through pain like it makes you heroic. Keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. Or listen to a 73-year-old man in a wheelchair who is begging you. Take care of your body, not tomorrow, not next month, now. Because someday your body will hand you the bill, and you will not be able to afford it. The clock is ticking. Your body is listening. Are you? If this hits you in the chest, share it. Share it with someone you love who's ignoring their health. Someone who hasn't seen a doctor in years. Someone who thinks they're invincible. Subscribe because I have more truths to share and not much time left. Leave a comment. Tell me one thing you're going to change today. I read every single one. Your time is precious. Thank you for spending it with me.